Hello everybody, welcome back. My name is Pel Mutabani. If you are new here, thank you for stopping by. You're most welcome. Please stay. Feel free to hit that subscribe button, like, and leave your comments down below. If you're an existing subscriber, thank you very much. I really appreciate your continued support.
I am woman, I am fearless, I am sexy, I'm divine, I'm unbeatable, I'm creative, honey, you can get it in line.
Now let's see what's been going on this week in the courts. As for the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial, it's still moving right along. We have seen the ballistics expert come in and give the court a rundown of how exactly Senzo may have been killed according to their investigations. We saw even the doctor who did the post-mortem giving his testimony. And this doctor who did the post-mortem, to me, when I listened to his testimony, it seemed to corroborate quite well what the hospital assessment report said. Remember, the assessment report read, at the time of arrival, the patient had no pulse, the pupils were fully dilated, and he was not breathing. Now, fast forward to the post-mortem statement. Dr. Steenkamp said the bullet had pierced his heart, it had pierced his lung, and the deceased had severe internal bleeding. Then he went on to say, with that type of injury, the deceased would have survived for seconds or minutes, but definitely not for hours. Now, back to the ballistics expert's testimony. For context, I'll take you back to Sergeant Masondo's testimony. Sergeant Masondo is the police officer who apprehended accused number 3 sometime back in 2015 with his girlfriend. And then he took them and went on and searched his house. And that's when he confiscated an unlicensed firearm. When the defense cross-examined him, he was asked if the gun that he had confiscated was in any way related to the Foslorus investigation. And then he said no. He said no. He said if there was any connections, he would have known. It was a resounding no. Now, fast forward to Mr. Ballistics expert. The same gun that was confiscated, he says it has connections to the Khumalo shooting. He says the bullet that was recovered from the crime scene had markings that can only be unique to that gun. That's how they figured it was fired from that gun. This is now a stark contradiction to what Sergeant Masondo said. Are they not working on the same case? It's not making sense. It's like they're intent on throwing this case everywhere. Now, this again brings us back to the tampering of the evidence that the defense has been highlighting all along. Remember, the bullet was not found on the day that Musia went to the Khumalo house. It was only found the following day. Now it is matching accused number 3's gun. I can see how the defense will be insisting that it was possibly planted. It seems very convenient. But before the ballistics experts arrived at the conclusion about the gun, I was actually thinking he may just be the one to land this case because of how very experienced he was. He mentioned very high-profile cases and how he was used to giving testimonies in high-profile cases. So up until he matched the gun to the bullet, I was very convinced that we're getting somewhere. Now it's just right back at the beginning. His extrapolation of how the shots may have happened, just based on the markings on the floor and the door and the fragmented bullet, as well as the bullet wound on the chest with a corresponding exit wound. It was so believable. So it's easy to imagine how this could have happened. First, he pointed out from his investigation that there were at least 2 shots. From his investigations, there were at least 2 shots that were fired at the crime scene, with one shot fired directly to the floor and the other one in the direction of the door. Now, for the one that was fired in the direction of the door, he said his investigation showed that there was a possible intermediate medium between the door and the bullet, which most probably was the deceased, from how he explained it, and it made a lot of sense. He said the bullet wound on the chest region and the tearing of the t-shirt suggested that the deceased was shot at very close range, with the firearm likely to have been in contact with his body. Meanwhile, Senzo's brother, Sfiso, he's still maintaining that there were no intruders in the house, that all the 5 accused men are innocent. He said his brother's death was likely to have been a mistake because the Twala guy that ran away brought a gun but didn't mean to shoot him. He's still maintaining that story. It's just unfortunate because that is not the direction that the state are taking. So that's his story and he's sticking with it. What do you think, guys? For me, honestly, the twists and the turns of this case, they are making it hard to even anticipate where it's going to land. It's just everywhere. We can only hope it lands on the side of justice. I'll see you again very soon. Thank you, guys.